You're welcome back. And this afternoon, the MPP's reconciliation efforts are coming under intense scrutiny, with concerns raised about the sincerity and effectiveness of the process, as Kennedy Agyapong's camp alleges targeted victimization just days after the polls. Well, calls for healing and party unity have grown louder since polls closed on Saturday, with 4 aspirants pledging their full support to the elected flag-bearer Mahmoud Bawumia. But speaking on PM Express with Evans Mensah last night, a member of Kennedy Agyapong's team, Alex Mpabin, questioned the party's commitment to genuine reconciliation, claiming some members of their camp are being singled out for unfair treatment.
If Kennedy's key members are meeting and an agenda items about the way forward in winning 2028, that clearly shows the posture, the position, and the readiness of Kennedy Agyapong. But as I said, it has to be genuine inclusion. You know, in the last few hours, I've been following lots of social media posts, and personally, I have got my own share of the cake, where people keep kind of demonizing you for following a particular candidate.
Is it coming from party? Is it coming from party supporters or from
absolutely party supporters? Okay. Party supporters, and some are, well-respected people in the party. Direct to my WhatsApp and why do you so this kind of messaging. We don't build unity with that kind of message, and there's no way Team Bawumia alone can win 2028. So we should stop demonizing people for supporting a particular candidate they believe in. But there has to be a deliberate attempt, and this is where the leadership of Team Bawumia we request a lot from them. I believe everybody I've spoken to, from the director of elections, from the campaign administrator, I've had a lot of conversation with almost everyone in the leadership in the last 48 hours. Every single one of them, I can say on record, is ready. We believe in the MPP. We believe in Dr. Bawumia's leadership to move us forward. What is left is that it was opinions, it was different personalities presenting different perspectives on how Ghana or the MPP should move forward. It is the time for us to collaborate and build on the strength and do away with the weaknesses of each candidate. But in doing so, we should embrace each other's opinion, embrace the supporters, and I keep saying we should never see every single supporter as a problem that we need to suppress or we need to cosmetically manage. But you need to see each and every supporter as having a genuine reason for supporting whoever they support.
That's Alex Mpabin of the Kennedy Agyapong camp. He's also a former deputy finance minister. But the party's national treasurer, Charles Dramina, is insisting the MPP is serious about reconciling all factions and presenting a united front ahead of the 2028 elections. He says steps are already underway to establish a national reconciliation committee that will lead a nationwide healing tour.
Push this with open minds. If we set up the best reconciliation team, and in your mind you have already concluded that you're not going to have it done fairly, then it's going to be a problem. At least the goodwill is there. Leadership has served every indication that this is a matter of great importance. We are going to make sure we get it done and done well so that everybody comes on board. If we have the evidence, if we have the instances, let's help leadership by feeding leadership with the requisite information so that this thing can be done and done well. And you can't get that done well when you have in your mind that about 90% or a greater portion of the people who are going to see to it that that is done were in favor of a particular candidate, in which case whatever they do might not necessarily address the concern. No. So you did say, and I agree with you that, in fact, I'm making the point. You did say that
the party's leadership leading to the election at the constituency, but who forms the reconciliation committee? It's an issue that will be determined by national. But to say that about 90% of constituency executives were on one side, I'm 100% of this, even though I don't have data.
Yeah, but
I don't think I'm.
But Alex, that is why we are saying that it's important at this stage. The race is over. It's important whether what you're saying is true or not. The race is over. We are starting another process of bringing everyone on board. Let's do that with open minds. Let's even assume, without admitting, that indeed about 90% of those were on one side. Now we are starting a new process. Once you have an open mind,
you got me wrong. If I'm interjecting.
Let's get talking and go onto the telephone lines right now and speak to the Deputy General Secretary of the opposition MPP, Haruna Mohammed. Haruna, concerns are already growing about the party's sincerity and really the real commitment to reconciling its factions. As an executive of the party, how determined is your leadership to genuinely bring everyone on board for a united front ahead of the 2028 elections?
Thank you very much, Kenneth. I would like to say good afternoon to your cherished viewers and you yourself. Indeed, such an election that we have organized certainly will have dissenting views of members who are dissatisfied with one thing or the other, and more importantly, with regards to reconciliation. We have heard him, we have heard his comments, and it's expected because after an election such as this, you would have people pointing fingers to the other. But I want to stand on behalf of the leadership to assure everybody that we will take the needed steps to be able to reconcile all the members of our party. One thing that people are forgetting is that reconciliation is not about going to fine-tune one individual or one camp. Reconciliation cuts across. Whether they were supporting another candidate or not, they themselves also need reconciliation. So all the factions, all the five aspirants, their members and everything needs reconciliation. You are not reconciled independently. You are reconciled into a system, and that system also needs reconciliation. Right. So I want to assure them that all the factions, the National Party will take it upon themselves and ensure that this particular reconciliation process is taken very seriously. But I want to take this as a caution to every member of the party that when the National Party was drumming home the fact that no officer of the party should openly go and support another candidate. This was the reason why we were saying. And it doesn't affect the Tabaomia camp alone. All the camps have officers of the party who were supporting them. So this should not be looked like one camp was having, even if you have 1% or 2%, it is that that particular person is also serving in a leadership position. There should be a caution to everybody going forward. Secondly, in reconciliation too, tone of language is also something that is very important. That is why we caution every member of the language you use in the campaign. That language you are using must be more reconciliatory of matters that can bring all of us together. So if you had used a language that is very difficult to heal at this particular moment, we allow a healing process and we are able to talk to people so that all of us will join the reconciliation tree. So going forward, people should be mindful of what you say about the other. People should be mindful about what you tune out. People should be mindful about the plans you do. People should be mindful about the actions you do. These are very sentimental in reconciliation. And I want to encourage party members to be very decorous, to be very respectful, to be very factual, to be able to make their presentations so that tomorrow matters that you raise would not be pointed to you. And these are things that generate tension within political parties and generate tension and takes up people emotions. So I want to encourage them and assure them that the National Party will do everything possible to get this reconciliation. Reconciliation doesn't necessarily mean you are putting the party leadership only together. Reconciliation encompasses more than that. You can even have a reconciliation committee that you don't even have a member of the Constituency Executive Committee or a Regional Executive Committee or just a member, just for record or just for institutional memory. So they should be rest assured let us all go into the issue of reconciliation with clean heart. Reconciliation from both sides must be genuine, not from one. Even the one the person who is being reconciled must also be very genuine in his or her reconciliation process.
Haruna, has there been any reports to the executives about the alleged intimidation that Alex Ampabin mentioned?
And if possibly, the National Party can find out from him, because he's a member of our party, to get more details on the matters that are being raised by him.
And your treasurer, Charles Dramina, also said that there's going to be a reconciliation committee that's going to be set up. Who and who are going to make up that committee?
Certainly, committees of the party comes from either NEC or National Council. So when committees are going to be set, an individual such as myself or Dr. Jomana might not be able to indicate the membership, but the committee that is going to set it up could be NEC or could be the National Council, which are ad hoc committees of these particular two bodies. So until those bodies take the power to set up those particular membership of the committee, I might not be able to put out names, because names comes from NEC or comes from council, and the national chairman will lead the charge in terms of the setting up of those particular committees. And I know that when it is about time for us to set those particular committees, men and women of value will be put into the committee to deliver sincerity, to deliver good judgment, and to make sure that we are able to bring everybody on board.
Just today, we saw almost all the minority MPs in Parliament pay a visit to the former Vice President and flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, Mahmoud Bawumia. There are those who say that on a face value, the MPP is trying to present a united front, but deep down, there's still that division even days after this election concluded. Is that really the case?
You know, after every election, after every competition, there comes cooperation. So in all the structures of the party, not only the minority MP, we also have other executives or other individuals in their own statutes going to pay homage to the newly elected flag bearer of our party. This has been something that we as a party has practiced over time. And that is why we have always said that we are the beacon of democracy in Africa, and we are the true practitioners of democracy, because we come out from every election very strong. And this comes because of the transparency level, the openness level, the engagement levels, and all the levels of sentiments that we engage in terms of getting everybody. And you certainly will not have an election such as this so that everybody will be under one candidate. That is why we have an election. Everybody will indicate your opinion or who you think will be able to lead. Once a leader has emerged, all of you will have to rally behind the leader, irrespective of where you belong. It doesn't mean that there was loss of unity or there was something that was missing. It was an opinion that was exercised per the constitution of the party by every member. And that is why everybody has shown your interest level where it is on the 31st, and one person was elected. Once the one person is elected, all of us as a party will rally behind that particular individual. And that is why everybody is going to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, so that all of us will get a more united front to move ahead. Doesn't mean that it was a disunited front. We only went and indicate our judgment as to who should lead, and God has chosen the person who is going to lead us, and that person is Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. All of us in our individual matters will go to pay homage. I know even the media, you would go to say a congratulatory message and take messages from him. Certainly doesn't mean that there was a division, but that is the coherence and then the indicative of the unity or cohesion that we need going forward to the 2028 general election.
You've already mentioned that you do not know which individuals will constitute the reconciliation committee, but do you at least know when this committee will be formed?
This committee can only be formed when there is either one, if there is a steering committee meeting, which the flag bearer is now a member of the steering committee, or there is a NEC meeting, or there is a National Council meeting. So until these three bodies, there is a meeting of that sort to be able to bring up these particular names of persons, I might not be able to raise the names here because it doesn't lie in my mouth to mention who to be a member of the committee. When it comes before NEC or council, then I can make a suggestion as to a person who can be part of that particular process. But at this particular moment, I cannot mention any name because the constitution of the party has not been properly invoked in terms of the setting up of the committee for reconciliation.
Haruna Mohammed, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. That's the Deputy General Secretary of the Opposition MPP. Away from politics, government will in the coming weeks begin the process of renaming the Kotoka International Airport. It will now be called the Accra International Airport once legislative processes are completed. Well, the plan was revealed by Majority Leader Mahama Ayariga at a news conference ahead of Parliament's resumption after a month-and-a-half break. James Aveji has more in the following report.
Of Parliament in this maiden press engagement ahead of the second session of Parliament gave an update on the job that has been done as well as the backlog from 2025, but most especially the preparation of the House ahead of the President John Dramani Mahama's delivery of the State of the Nation's address for 2026.
Expect in this meeting to take the President's report on the state of the nation. That's a major item of this meeting. That's a major item of this meeting. Just like last meeting of last session, the major item was the budget, if you recall. So usually in each meeting, there's something major that occurs during that meeting. So I would say that the major highlight of this meeting will be the President's presentation of the State of the Nation report to Parliament, pursuant to the constitutional obligation that he has. And so you should be preparing towards that.
The Majority Leader Mahama Ayariga also gave a forecast of what to expect from the various ministries, departments and agencies in terms of bills coming to the House, especially some number of bills, an amendment from the Energy Minister to effect some changes in the energy sector, as well as a bill to change the name of the Kotoka International Airport to Accra International Airport.
But the Minister for Energy plans to bring a bill to enact a new National Petroleum Authority Act. They also want to bring a bill to establish a Ghana Bunkering Services Agency. And then also, as you would recall, there is a program to involve the private sector in electricity distribution. And these are things that will have to come to Parliament for approval. There's been a lot of renegotiation of the various power purchase agreements with independent power producers. These are matters that have to come to Parliament. The Nuclear Power Corporation bill will also come. There is a proposal to establish a Renewable Energy Authority. So the bill to establish that will also be here. And then there's a new proposal to merge PURC and EC to establish the Ghana Energy Regulatory Commission. So a bill to that effect will come. And then some regulations relating to the West Africa gas pipeline will also come from the Ministry of Energy. And we are changing the name of our airport from Kotoka International Airport to Accra International Airport. So a bill will be brought by the Minister for Transport for the name of the airport to be changed from Kotoka International Airport to Accra International Airport. So the Accra International Airport bill will also come.
Alexander Afenyo-Markin indicated that they will collaborate with the majority, but the majority, as well as the Speaker, must be more accommodating this year.
It is our view that when it comes to legislative activities, the NDC majority's legislative agenda has basically focused on doing some policies and rolling out new social intervention programs that we believe that if they continue old policies of the MPP administration in the spirit of continuity in governance, it will help our country. We've seen 33 bills that were fast-tracked under certificate of urgency, a procedure usually reserved for emergencies. We've not been happy about it. I hope that I will get the majority leader's assurance to allow for more engagement. We hold a view that in this meeting, the majority should be more accommodating. They must hear us. They must allow the minority to do more advocacy. We expect Speaker to be admitting more and more of our motions. Last year, we went through a lot of frustrations. You file a motion, decline, and sometimes it comes in at a late hour, 11th hour. A typical example was the motion we filed on the CJ nomination. We filed it on time, and we wanted to advocate our issues on the House floor over 2 weeks. It was midnight of the Friday preceding the Monday where we were going to do the vetting that the clerk communicated that our motion has been rejected. I mean, that was quite frustrating. And you know, when we tried to deal with our issue at the vetting, the majority leader decided to use the tactics of point of order to keep us struggling. But it's all part of politics. He has his strategy. We must also have our strategy.
The majority leader, Mahama Yariga, also responded to questions about the status of the Honorable Bejra report on the chaos that rocked the appointment last year. And this is the update he's been given.
The committee report, I believe, is ready. And I believe that Speaker will look at it, and then we will get some indication what to do about it. I agree with you that it's a matter that dents the image of Parliament, and Parliament must seem to also be accountable in terms of its conduct. So I have no doubt that in due course, Speaker will give some direction on taking that particular report.
With this update from the leadership, it is expected that the second session of the 9th Parliament would be a very busy one as government pushes to deliver on key promises through Parliament, and as the minority also readies to hold both government and the other side, the majority, to account. From Parliament House here in Accra, I am James Savage for Joy News.
And away from Parliament, as the Ghana Cocoa Board races against time to rethink its financing scheme in cocoa purchases, some farmers in the Ashanti region are contemplating smuggling the beans to neighboring countries and selling off their lands to illegal miners. For 3 months now, the farmers have eagerly awaited payments for the bags of cocoa beans they sold to the Cocoa Board through licensed cocoa buying companies. All their regular visits to the cocoa purchasing companies for their monies have proven futile, throwing many of them into a real struggle in fending for themselves and family. Emmanuel Bright-Kweku traveled to Kofiase, a small cocoa farming community in the Ashanti region, and reports.
David Berko and his wife combed through their parcel of cocoa farm in the Kofiase community of the Ashanti region in desperate search for ripe cocoa pods. After hours of frantic search, they collect a basket of the pods and head to their thatched house sitting in the middle of the deep cocoa plantation. This has been their source of livelihood for nearly 3 decades, but the past few months have been unprecedentedly difficult. Times are hard now. We used the initial payment to settle our labors. Because I have no money, I told my son to stay home from school.
2 days school uncle. 5 school. Over. It's coming in one more. When I'm not school more,
For 3 months now, the couple have not received any funds for the cocoa beans they supplied to the local license buying company. Requesting money due them has become a daily struggle, throwing them into untoward hardship. Yesterday we ate ampesi. This morning, we have no cash on us for food. The purchasing clerk told us to come for the money, but when my husband went there, he told me there isn't any now. We have been chasing the money since.
Amen.
Few meters away from David's abode, I meet Shaibu, also a cocoa farmer. His story isn't any different. We are suffering. We have no money. I thought you had come here to give me money. My wife has left me alone in the bush to cater for our children. This has been the plight of many cocoa farmers across the country. After receiving October payments, funds for all the harvests they made from November to date have not been paid. The joy that erupted after the government increased cocoa prices has been short-lived. This government cares less about the cocoa sector. We've never been in this situation before. Government in October 2025 set its farm gate price at 58,000 cedis per metric ton, selling at approximately 3,228 cedis per 64 kilogram. The price adjustment came with a new cocoa financing regime. The Cocoa Board announced no syndicated loans were secured for the 2025-2026 crop season. Randy Abe is the CEO of the Cocoa Board.
Previous year, the thing delayed to 22nd December. Never happened before. And we didn't even get what we wanted and had to go to Ministry of Finance for some $70 million or something, which is also a debt, to be able to do the financing of the cocoa. So we were in troubled waters. So the buyers agreed to then finance the crop so that they will be able to retrieve those low price contracts now. Yes, I know. Whilst they can also buy a bit of this. However, as I speak, Ministry of Finance, NEA, we are looking at a financing model.
Another one?
Yes, we are looking at the financing model. Moving beyond 25-26.
The reworked cocoa financing system saw farmers sell beans to licensed buying companies, which then sell to the Cocoa Board, and through its marketing arm, Cocoa Board sells the cocoa to international buyers. The arrears have seen many licensed buying companies operating under Cocoa Board halt purchases. Kojo Edubofo is a purchasing clerk for Olam at a corner.
Number 2, yasa credit cocoa ni bi wo company ni chain cocoa do officer.
The money isn't coming. We've credited some bags of cocoa beans, which we expect payments are made for them. The LBCs have informed us not to take any cocoa again. Data from the Bank of Ghana indicates cocoa traded at approximately $58,000 per ton on the global markets as of December 2025, declining from over $11,000 at the beginning of this year. Industry sources say the recent decline in international prices has made it difficult for Cocoa Board to secure advance payments from traders, forcing the central bank to step in to provide funding. Professor Robert Edo is an agriculture economist at the KNUST.
It's difficult to understand how they are going to manage things because, see, wanting to get the most from the international market is good, but I think that it doesn't have to be done by sacrificing the welfare of the farmer. We must find a way to raise internal funds to pay the farmer off. If it continues this way, it means that the light crop that is going to come, many farmers will rather prefer to cross the border.
While some farmers find alternative farming to support their families, others are contemplating smuggling and selling off their lands to illegal miners. The government is now focusing on gold, and if that's the case, then I will sell my land to legal miners to get the money due me. I will also smuggle. If my child is sent home for owing fees, I'll go back to the school and inform them the government owes me. Sources indicate that Cocoa Board is rethinking its financing strategy as large amounts of cocoa beans pile up in farms, putting investments at serious risk.
I do not know how much government has rating from the gold project that it is doing. So far it appears the economy is running on the gold process. And so if they could also use part of the process to pay cocoa farmers, it will help. In the past, Ghana has survived on the inflows from cocoa. So at this point when Ghana is not ready to sell or is not getting enough immediately, I think that they need to also find alternative ways of sorting out the cocoa farmer.
Someone brought me 2 kilos of cocoa. I couldn't buy them. But one question lingers on the minds of the cocoa farmers as they harvest the beans. Who will buy them after drying?
So, cocoa farmers are really anxious for respite. They go through a lot of drudgery to give us some of the golden beans that we export to our countries. But in the past months, it has been a Herculean tax and economic woes for most of them living, especially in our rural communities. And they are anxious for government intervention, an immediate one, of course. From here at Kofiase, in the Ashanti region, for Joy News, my name is Emmanuel Bright Kweku.
Well, thank you, Emmanuel, for that beautiful report. Let's interrogate this disturbing issue. And joining me on Zoom right now is Nana Obuadia. He's the president of the Concerned Farmers Association. Also on Zoom is Sam Jerome, who's the head of public affairs at the Ghana Cocoa Board. And on the line as well is Dr. Godfred Seidu Jasor. He's the chairman of Parliament's Committee on Food, Agriculture and Cocoa Affairs. Gentlemen, grateful for your time this afternoon. Let me begin with you, Obuadia. How serious is this challenge on the ground? Kindly unmute your microphone so we can hear you. Hello, Obuadia. Right. We're having challenges connecting via Zoom to Obuadia, but I'll come back to him later. But in the meantime, let's speak to Jerome from the Ghana Cocoa Board. Grateful for your time this afternoon. These farmers are complaining that they're considering smuggling their cocoa farmers to neighboring countries or even selling their lands to illegal miners. They're blaming your outfit for delay in arrears. What is the reason for those delays?
So thank you very much. I think it is an issue that we also take it quite seriously. I mean, all the concerns raised by the farmers have come to the attention of Cocoa Board. And then as we speak, I mean, there are a lot of meetings going on to finding solution to dealing with this particular issue. I mean, it's a cocktail of issues. So you cannot isolate a particular issue and then deal with, but you need to box it together to find, I mean, a lasting solution to some of these things. So the farmers agitating, we really do understand, but we need to understand what is happening so that at least all the stakeholders will appreciate the state that Cocoa Board finds itself. Look, we all know that we used to have syndication or syndicated loan, but quite unfortunately from 2024, Cocoa Board has not been going for that syndicated loan. So which meant that there is no guarantee in respect of finding seed money to be given to the license buying companies. So when we were doing syndication, irrespective of whatever happens on the international market, whether the prices will drop or not, we have kind of secured ourselves in terms of, funding. But now that is not the case anymore. Largely, the off-taker or the international buyer pre-finances the purchase of cocoa. So if the person says that, okay, the tonnage that I want to buy, I have bought it, then it becomes an issue. You have to renegotiate and find ways and means to dealing with this whole situation. We find it very regrettable with some cocoa farmers saying that since November, they've not had monies for cocoa that they've sold. It is not entirely the case because some of the farmers have received money. And we also do acknowledge that some too haven't. And those who largely haven't received money are those who made sale of their cocoa beans to the LBCs that did not have off-takers or direct monies coming in from the off-taker. So Cocoa Board is in consultation or in a meeting with these affected LBCs to finding ways and means that we can pay them their money so they can also settle whatever outstanding that they have with the cocoa farmer. But as to a farmer, out of the person's frustration saying that he or she will smuggle the cocoa, I beg to differ. I say so authoritatively because you smuggle to get benefit. As we speak, Ghana's cocoa bean remains the overpriced cocoa bean on the African continent. So should you go to Cote d'Ivoire, Nigeria, or Togo, you cannot get the price that you are getting in Ghana. So the problem that we are even dealing with at the moment as a country is that we have cocoa coming in from other neighboring countries because farmers in those jurisdictions are not getting value in terms of what pricing for the cocoa bean that they have produced. So I beg to differ and say that if you smuggle the cocoa bean, you are not going to get anything better. And also the issue that they want to sell their lands to, illegal miners and what have you. It's quite unfortunate, and we really would appeal to them not to do that. But if you go ahead to do that, possibly you are affecting the revenue or the income of just about 10,000 people working at Cocoa Board. But we are talking about over 800,000 farm families, which translated to some 4 million people who live on the incomes of cocoa. So if out of this temporal frustration, you take a decision of an eminent adverse effect on you, then the issue really had not been looked into properly. So we are appealing to them. Yes, it is an issue that they deserve, or they are at liberty to vent their anger, their frustrations and complaints. And that is why, as a board, we have taken everything in good faith and making sure that we do not find a temporary solution, but find a lasting solution which will deal with some of these issues and not reoccur again. As we speak, Cocoa Board is in talks both with government as well as the international buyers as to how best we can deal with this situation, because it is unheard of. It's not something that we have experienced, because a price of almost 12,000 2 years ago, today we are having to deal with 4,100. That tells that even the price, the percentage given to the cocoa farmer last year, which is 5,040, we are not getting that on the international market. And the obvious fact is also that Cocoa Board will have to spend not less than 6,300 6,300 at the point of what? Shipping the cocoa. So every ton of cocoa, if you tell you the amount that cocoa board is what? Cocoa board is losing. If cocoa board decides to accept the current price, which is being sold on the international market. And it is also a fact that because our cocoa bean remains expensive on the international market, there are some buyers who are also considering other markets or other jurisdictions to finding at least a cheaper cocoa bean. So the question is that, are we to move in quickly to accepting whatever that is on the international market and subsequently present same to our farmers, or we are to holistically look into the issues and find a permanent solution whereby both cocoa board as well as our gallant farmers will win?
Right.
So this has been the issues that we are really dealing with.
Sam, I want you to hold on for me. Let me bring in Obwade. I understand your connection is better now. How serious is this issue on the ground? You are a part of the farmers.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, and then good evening to your viewers. Well, we did a toll on that based on this non-payment. We made a toll through the various cocoa farming community, and then the feedback that we had during our interaction with the farmers, it is very serious because some of them need the money. Others have even budgeted their money to take their kids to school. Others have scholarship that they are supposed to move away from this country, which they were looking for the money, and then there's no money. And then we have people too that have placed some loans, have taken some money from other people that they also have to pay, which they are not getting. So when you go to the ground, I mean, it's something that some of the farmers that weren't paid, or maybe their cocoa wasn't bought for some time, now are facing serious challenge.
Let me bring in Dr. Said, we just saw in at the moment. He's the chairman of Parliament's Agric and Cocoa Affairs Committee. Grateful for your time this afternoon. What is Parliament's position on this, and has this matter even come to your attention?
Good evening. We thank you for the opportunity. We have information. Our attention has been brought to this development where some cocoa farmers are struggling to get payments, at least from December or so, up to date for cocoa beans sold. Some are still holding some cocoa beans in stock and monitoring the situation to see which will be a rational route to sell their cocoa beans. I want to commend the farmer and also Jeremy for explaining the issues. We have realized that the issues that are confronting us now are structural. And so it's important that we take our time as a country and deal with the issues once and for all. You will recall that there were some cocoa bills floated, and in the 2024-2025 cocoa season, requests for proposals were floated for a syndicated loan to be raised, but government was unable to raise that. And this was a direct financial response from the funders because of what had happened to cocoa bills and in the DEP program. And so confidence was lost. And so it had to now bequeath the responsibility of financing the buy-in to the cocoa company. So if an LBC is solvent enough, they go ahead and buy. If they are not, they look for off-takers, and then they are pre-financed. So this was a shift. After 32 years of utilizing syndicated loans, we came to a point where, because of the domestic debt exchange program, there was no confidence anymore from the finance institutions. And so we had to look for money, really, to support this. Now, this model has existed, has been on for the last 2 or 3 years now running. And so it becomes difficult for cocoa boards, now the current cocoa board, that also inherited some beans rollover. If you recall, they had 333,000 metric tons of beans that they had to pay. And these were forward sales sold at $2,600 per ton, where the price is shot up to between $10,000 and $12,000. So it was only rational that you couldn't pay for that. You rather will sell on spot than wait to pay for $2,600. However, I have to commend COCOBOT. As we interrogated their books, we realized that the 333,000 metric tons have actually been paid. They've paid at least 2,300 and so thousand metric tons. So they are level under 100,000 metric tons of that cocoa debt, if you like, to pay. Now, that means that there's some good management going on there, and we want to interrogate it further. We've set up a meeting with COCOBOT, so we are meeting them on Wednesday to check what the next action steps are. But once I have your forum, what I want to know, what I want to recommend as a committee is that we are not interested in the stories. We represent the people. Our farmers, I know they cannot sell to Nigeria or Cote d'Ivoire because they'll get less prices there. So there's actually no incentive to smuggle. So don't be worried about that. Now, what will the government do to be able to respond to these farmers' needs, because some are still holding cocoa beans? And so I call on government to look critically at a new financing model.
Okay.
Let's raise bonds and raise funding and financing for this, what is left to be bought, and then the next cocoa financing season. I also think that we should not just raise bonds and continue buying beans year in, year out. We should be able to link it to value addition. So as part of the work of our committee, we want to go out and check what is the status of value-adding companies that are in the country. What is their capacity? Where do they source their beans from? What quantities do they source them from? What do they produce? How do they sell what they produce? So we are very interested in the value chain bit. And this serves as a buffer market that you can have the cocoa beans sold to. Because in the past, we realized that most of the cocoa beans were exported, and that the processing companies in country couldn't actually get enough beans to get their capacity satisfied. I also think that we should think as a country, begin to think about price deregulation. So that if the cocoa price goes up, the farmer gains. If it goes down, the farmer loses. However, we can put checks where it doesn't go down a certain minimum so that the farmer can continue to be in business.
Dr. Joso, I'm afraid I have to interrupt you here. Very sorry about that. We have to cross over now to Parliament. On the floor right now is the Minority Leader, Alexander Afenyo-Markin. You know, they're just returning from a month and a half break, and they're resuming for the first time today. Let's listen in.
Honorable Mahama Torre Nasa, Member of Parliament for Ayawasu East. Now to his grieving family, constituents, and the National Democratic Congress, the NDC, and every member of this august house, I extend deepest condolences on behalf of the Minority Caucus. May his soul rest in perfect peace. Mr. Speaker, on our part, the minority, our party's delegates have spoken. Through vibrant democracy, our party has chosen His Excellency Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia to lead us into the future. Mr. Speaker, I am happy to say that this morning, the caucus extended warmest congratulations to the flag bearer, and we promised to work with him and stand shoulder to shoulder with him to deliver on his vision for our party and for our country come December 2028 elections. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, our conversation with him has energized us. We spoke as family about the formidable task ahead, earning the trust of Ghanaians and returning to power to rebuild and restore Ghana under Dr. Bawumia presidency. Mr. Speaker, let me take this opportunity to say to our distinguished sons of our party, Honorable Kennedy Japan, Honorable Dr. Brian Achampong, Honorable Dr. Yao Osei Educhum, and Engineer Kwabna Eje Japan, we offer a brotherly salute. The contest is over, collaboration begins. Mr. Speaker, we as minority are clear that the unity that demands our work in this very chamber requires us to be rigorous. It simply means that collective good of our country and party must be the overriding objective. And we also thank the National Democratic Congress for the statement they issued acknowledging the peaceful election we held. Our flag bearers' first great task and ours start this very hour. The journey to begin 2028 begins with the very first step we take together right now. Mr. Speaker, Ghana is crying out for bold, competent, proven leadership. The current administration, in our view, is failing to manage our economy with transformation in mind, failing to inspire confidence, failing to uphold the dignity of our people. But our duty as minority is not merely to critique. The new patriotic party is not just a political option. It is a singular solution Ghana requires. Mr. Speaker, the records will bear us out. We show that for 8 years under President Kufuor and under President Akufo-Addo's leadership, we led Ghana towards transformation until COVID struck. Against all odds, we put Ghana back on the path of recovery. Indeed, the NDC offers much more PR gimmick than proper management. The MPP offers a proven blueprint. History will ask what will build when Ghana needed us most. The solution is here, and the solution is us. Mr. Speaker, it is also with profound joy that we welcome back to this House our honorable colleague, Honorable Matthew Nyindam, Member of Parliament for Pandai, to his rightful place. The Supreme Court has spoken with constitutional authority, validating his election and restoring justice. This is a resounding triumph for democracy itself. We hail the justices for their courage in the face of brazen attempt to stampede them into politically expedient miscarriage of justice. This House has urged institutional restraint, as we did with the bogus processes that, in our view, forced the Chief Justice Arabe Sabato Kunu out of office. But our colleagues opposite chose to speed up the process, which we again oppose. Mr. Speaker, let this be our pledge. We shall model maturity, eschewing hasty suspensions that invite chaos. In restraint lies our strength, in haste our humiliation. Outside this chamber, the story is harsher. A nation without two important ministers. It has been months since the tragic helicopter crash took our ministers for defense and environment. Those vital ministries remain without substantive leadership. We demand forthwith that Mr. President nominate these ministers to mount these ministries. It is not enough to have the Minister of Finance with a huge responsibility also taking up the Ministry of Defense. Mr. Speaker, on jobs, last November, 6 young women died in a stampede at Elwak Sports Stadium during recruitment. When a country turns a recruitment gate into graveyard, it is a government that has failed our youth. On food, farmers complain of losses while families struggle with high prices. When food rots in villages, while children sleep hungry in towns, the problem is policy and logistics. Meanwhile, government says that inflation has come down. Our farmers have always carried Ghana on their shoulders with respect to food security in the country. Unfortunately, 2025 farmers were faced with lack of agricultural inputs, fertilizers, certified seeds, and agricultural machinery distributed to farmers were woefully...
Honorable Minority Leader, I'm sorry. I have to move to another meeting.
Sure.
So the first Deputy Speaker will take the chair. Minority Leader, you may continue.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'll take it again. Our farmers have always carried Ghana on their shoulders with respect to food security in the country. Unfortunately, in 2025, farmers were faced with lack of agricultural inputs, fertilizers, certified seeds, and agricultural machinery distributed to farmers were woefully inadequate. The food glut challenge we witnessed in 2025 must also be properly addressed. Mr. Speaker, we expect the government to ensure that adequate warehouses are provided and that all warehouses that were started by the previous administration must be completed in good time. Mr. Speaker, again, our cocoa farmers are crying for payment. We hereby urge the Ministry of Agric and the Ministry of Finance to take steps to ensure that our hard-working cocoa farmers are paid for all supplies that they make to Cocoa Board. Mr. Speaker, in our country today, gold has turned to ghost. The hardship is not accident. It is the consequence of choices, including those that threaten our collective wealth as a nation. During the recess, not one but two distinct gold scandals rocked the very foundations of our economy, revealing a pattern of staggering incompetence and catastrophic failure. First, Mr. Speaker, we confronted the missing millions. The IMF published a report and flagged a 240 million losses through the third quarter 2025 from Gold for Reserves program. These were not hypothetical risks. These were realized losses, lost to trading shortfalls and questionable fees. This sum is not an abstraction. It is classrooms never built, hospital equipment never procured, farm input never graded. It is the future of our nation sacrificed on the altar of opaque and reckless financial engineering. But this situation did not end with the missing money. It escalated to vanishing gold itself. Official Bank of Ghana data confirms a collapse to so severe that it defies belief. Our gold reserves, which stood at 37.1 tons in September 2025, plunged by nearly 50% to mere 18.6 tons by December. In just 3 months, we witnessed the utter evaporation of prior gains, financial phantom event that has left our national balance sheet dangerously exposed. The connection between these two catastrophes is not incidental. It is a causal and it speaks to profound moral failure. On one hand, this government has proven utterly incompetent in combating the scourge of illegal mining. Galamsey prevention and the fight against Galamsey has been abandoned. It has allowed Galamsey to flourish unchecked, devastating our forests, poisoning our rivers, and destroying the livelihood of our farmers. And for what purpose? the evidence suggests a desperate, cynical strategy to source gold from these very destructive channels in a frantic bid to prop up Ghana cedi through these reserve programs. Mr. Speaker, we, the minority, state without equivocation that this is a policy of national self-sabotage. I repeat, the gold reserve policy that government has introduced, to the extent that government is not taking steps to ensure full enforcement of anti-galamsey operations, we say for the record that it's a policy of national self-sabotage. We are monetizing the destruction of our environment and the theft of our future to feed failing financial scheme. And as the data now proves, that scheme itself has backfired catastrophically. The gold bought at such great costs to our environment has seemingly vanished, and the money allocated to secure it has evaporated. When gold is turned to ghosts, the ghost that haunts the poor is hunger. When reserves disappear in millions and they vanish, and we are told that they are rather diversifying, the trust of the people dissolves into dust. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, this House has a solemn and non-negotiable duty. We must insist on full, transparent, and immediate accounting. And we thank Mr. Speaker for admitting the motion by the minority to get into this matter. We must demand answers to the questions the nation is asking. Who designed this flawed program? Who authorized the pricing and the fee structure that led to such losses? Who profited from these transactions? And ultimately, who bears responsibility for this double disaster of missing millions and vanishing gold? But as minority, we have some solutions for government. If indeed government believes that this is a policy worth considering, then it must provide for the cost of enforcing this policy, and this must come to Parliament for the people's representatives to interrogate it. If Parliament does not have the courage to follow the gold, to trace every transaction, to demand every document, then we would have lost far more than the money. We would have surrendered our moral compass and betrayed the sacred trust placed in us by the people of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, as we are at mismanagement in the country and at home, the world changes without us. The United States announced an indefinite pause in immigrant visa processing for Ghanaians. The message is unmistakable. Ghana has slipped from trusted partner to flag concern. Our foreign ministries, our foreign policy, the inconsistency there too, the adversarial posture has replaced professional diplomacy with domestic theater. When our foreign ministry treats international partners as props for local politics, ordinary Ghanaians become collateral damage. The ultimate answer is not simply to lobby foreign embassies. It is to build Ghana worth staying in. A serious nation does not treat its people as exports. Mr. Speaker, reports show a worrying spike in assault on journalists. A state that cannot protect the pen will soon find it cannot protect the ballot box. Attacks make headlines, then files gather dust while impunity gains confidence. Violence against journalists is an attack on Parliament itself, because it is the media that carries our debate to the people we represent. Mr. Speaker, the minority in this meeting shall pursue vigorous accountability. And this is what we are going to do. Accountability will not just be a slogan. It is going to be our shadow. The minority would formally move for targeted parliamentary inquiries on the following: 1, the helicopter disaster; 2, the Elwak tragedy; 3, the gold reserve losses; 4, the violence against journalists. 5, the abuse associated with bail conditions by certain investigative agencies of state, the U.S. visa ban, and not the least, the unlawful dismissal of Ghanaian youth. We will not accept indefinite delay. Accountability without a calendar is merely public relations. Mr. Speaker, Ghanaian people are tired of speeches and rhetorics of the ruling government. They want their living standard to improve. They are concerned about utility prices. Electricity tariffs have shot up by 27% under this government. To my colleagues in majority, the minority will be firm, but we are ready to be fair. Opposition is not to sabotage. We will demand quality in terms of governance. And to my colleagues in the minority, our strength is in the seriousness we bring to debate. Nations are not rescued by miracles. They are rescued by choices. The choices we make in this meeting will echo in the homes of the jobless, in the heart of the grieving, and in the verdict of history. Let us rise to the occasion and let us demonstrate that we are formidable and that we are not just opposing, but we offer solutions. Mr. Speaker, let me on this note thank colleagues and welcome them back to this chamber and wish all of us a successful deliberation. Thank you so much.
Members, I will accordingly proceed to give the floor to the majority leader for his opening remark.
Honorable colleagues, Right Honorable Speaker, I rise to welcome back from recess colleagues who have converged here to carry out a critical constitutional function. But before I proceed, let me join my colleague, the minority leader, to express the most sincere condolences to all of us on the loss of our colleague, Honorable Naza Toure Mahama, the former Member of Parliament for Ayawaso East in the Greater Accra region. Our colleague was fully with us in the last meeting, and during recess, unfortunately, we lost him. May his soul rest in perfect peace. So, Speaker, let me again join my colleague to congratulate the new Patriotic Party for organizing an internal primaries that has produced a flag bearer. I congratulate the former Vice President, Dr. Mahmoudou Bawumia, on his victory. So, Speaker, I have listened to my colleague, the minority leader, and just to indicate that I paid attention to the results in his constituency. Honorable Kennedy got 644 votes. And Alhaji Bawumia got only 79 votes. In the constituency of the minority leader. Mr. Speaker, given his interest in inquiries, I think this is a matter we must look into. Mr. Speaker, this House reconvenes at a time when the Ghanaian economy has regained stability after a period of severe distress. Mr. Speaker, I just listened to my colleague, the minority leader, speak extensively about the Ghana Gold Board and the loss that is reported to have occurred. Mr. Speaker, what I hear, what is being reported, is that 2.4 billion Ghana cedis, equivalent to 214 million United States dollars, may have been lost. Mr. Speaker, they are not asking the question, what has been gained? I am asking the question, what has been gained? Mr. Speaker, the statistics show that in 2024, gold from artisanal small-scale mining sold to the state was 63.6 tons in 2024. In 2025, as a result of the activities of the Gold Board, gold sold to the state from artisanal miners jumped to 103 tons. From 63.6 tons to 103 tons. A jump of 39 tons. Mr. Speaker, the value of 1 ton of gold is 96.5 million United States dollars. The value of 1 ton is 96.5 million United States dollars. So 39 tons added by Gold Board gives us 3.8 billion United States dollars. Mr. Speaker, so if we lost 214 million United States dollars and gained 3.8 billion United States dollars, please do the mathematics. Please do the mathematics. Why will this House waste its precious time interrogating and investigating such a gargantuan gain to the Republic of Ghana? Simple mathematics. This is not Fufusu primary school mathematics. Mr. Speaker, there's nothing to investigate. We should be commending the Ghana Gold Board policy for the enormous gain that this republic has made from the implementation of the policy. When this parliament commenced its mandate, the nation faced high inflation, unsustainable debt levels, eroded confidence, and constrained fiscal space. The decisions before us were difficult but necessary. Today, there is clear evidence that those decisions are yielding results. Inflation has fallen to single digits. Interest rates are easing. The national currency has stabilized, and debt indicators are improving. These outcomes reflect disciplined policy choices, strong institutional coordination, and importantly, the robust oversight, scrutiny, and approvals exercised by this House in fulfillment of our constitutional mandate. Right Honourable Speaker, Parliament is not an appendage of the executive. We are an independent arm of government entrusted by the people of Ghana to approve, amend, reject, and hold the executive to account. In performance this duty, Parliament has acted in the national interest, balancing economic necessity with social responsibility and ensuring transparency, accountability, and respect for democratic process. Right Honourable Speaker, as we begin this new session, our task must now evolve. Economic stabilization, while necessary, is not sufficient. The responsibility before this House is to support legislation and policies that convert stability into growth, growth into jobs, and jobs into improved living standards for our people. Mr. Speaker, this House must also reaffirm its commitment to constructive debate and cooperation. Differences of opinion enrich our democracy, but division must never obstruct national progress. Ghanaians expect solutions, not stalemate. It is also right, Honourable Speaker, that we acknowledge effective leadership when it delivers results. That is why I am here to once again commend President John Dramani Mahama and the National Democratic Congress, because they deserve commendation for the discipline, experience, and clarity with which they have governed during a challenging period of our nation. The progress recorded in restoring confidence, easing economic pressure, and laying the foundations for sustainable growth reflects leadership that has prioritized the national interests. Allow me to present an overview of Ghana's fiscal and macroeconomic performance in 2025, underscoring the key achievements and reforms that have strengthened our economy and laid a solid groundwork for 2026. The fiscal deficit for 2025 was contained at 1.8% of GDP, reflecting prudent fiscal management and improved revenue mobilization. Total public debt decreased from 726.6 billion in 2024 to 630.2 billion in 2025. Representing a 13.3% reduction in just 1 year. Debt as a share of GDP fell significantly from 68.7% to 47.0%, a reduction of 23.7 percentage points in just 1 year, strengthening the country's debt sustainability profile. Real GDP growth remains steady at 4.8%, supported by resilience in key sectors. Inflation remains stable at 8%, aligning with the Bank of Ghana's targets. VAT reforms announced in 2025 are in full implementation in 2026, aiming to ease the cost of doing business and support households. We abolished the COVID-19 health recovery levy, saving households and businesses 3.7 billion Ghana cedis in 2026. We remove and decouple GET Fund and NHIA levies from the VAT base, enabling input tax deductions and lowering business costs by 5%. We abolish VAT on recognizance and prospecting of minerals, reduce the effective VAT rate from 21.9% to 20%, increase the VAT registration threshold from 200,000 to 750,000. Mr. Speaker, we extended the VAT zero rating on locally manufactured textiles to 2028. We recapitalized ADB and CBG with 1 billion Ghana cedis, strengthening the financial sector, making it stable, supporting credit flows to households and businesses. For the first time since 2007, when the cedi was redenominated, the Ghanaian cedi appreciated by 32% against the United States dollars, marking a historic milestone and reflecting the resilience of our economy and the success of our stabilization policies. Average lending rates have declined from 30% to 22%, and treasury bill rates from 29% to 11%, making financing more affordable for businesses and households. These improvements have generated approximately 8 billion Ghana cedis in national savings on interest directly benefiting the private sector and citizens. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, 2025 has been a year of fiscal consolidation, macroeconomic stability, and structural reform. These measures have positioned Ghana for sustainable growth in 2026, enhance that sustainability, and improve the business and investment climate. Looking ahead, 2026 promises to be a transformative year for Ghana with targeted initiatives across all key sectors. Mr. Speaker, the government will complete 30 abandoned E-blocks, community day schools, and the GET Fund. Government will construct 200 new junior high schools, construct 200 new primary schools, construct 200 new kindergartens, and construct 400 teacher bungalows and 400 sanitation facilities. Funding will also be provided for textbooks, school furniture, and transport for learners. 6 new regional hospitals will commence construction this year, alongside 2 district hospitals at Bole and Shama, while 10 Agenda 111 hospital projects will be completed. Ongoing projects at La General, Afenyo-Markin, Komfo-Anokye Maternity, and the Ashanti Regional Hospital will continue, and diagnostic and treatment centers will be established across major hospitals through PPPs. Mahama Cares will receive 2.3 billion Ghana cedis, and 9 billion is programmed for NHIS claims. Essential medicines, vaccines, and free primary health care will be ensured in the ensuing year. The government would allocate 500 million Ghana cedis for district housing, including resettlement of Akosombo Dam spillage victims. A major push will also be made for critical infrastructure, including the long-awaited Accra-Kumasi Expressway. Additionally, 200 million is earmarked for mini stadia. 1.1 billion will support LEAP, 401 million for women-owned SMEs through the Women's Development Bank, 170 million for the National Apprenticeship Program, and 169 million for BEC registration, 474 million for nursing trainee allowances, and 292 million for free sanitary pads for girls. The National Theatre in Accra will be rehabilitated, and the second theatre will be developed in Kumasi. 20 million will seat for Creative Arts Fund, and 150 million will support anti-illegal mining operations. 50 million is allocated for fishing nets and outboard motors. These initiatives collectively push 2026 as a year of tangible progress, improving education, healthcare, infrastructure, social protection, and economic opportunities for all Ghanaians. Let me also acknowledge the successful election of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as flag bearer of the new Patriotic Party. We congratulate him and his party for concluding that internal democratic process. Mr. Speaker, if you observed, my friends on the other side were all in white today to celebrate the victory. I joined them to wear white to celebrate the victory. But the reason why I have worn white to celebrate the victory is because the Bawumia that I know, NDC will beat him any time in the day. I'm wearing white to join the MPP in the chamber to celebrate because the Bawumia that I know, NDC can beat him any day. Right, Honorable Speaker, Ghanaians do not forget. Ghanaians do not forget. This is not a new beginning. It is a repackaging of the same administration, the same economic ideas, and the same record that pushed this nation to the edge. You cannot rewrite recent history, and you cannot rebrand responsibility away. Ghanaians will judge not by new faces or fine words, but by lived experience, credibility, and results. And they lived the experience of a Bawumia as a vice president, and the credibility of MPP under Bawumia and the results of the Baumia economic management. Right, Honorable Speaker, the foundations of recovery have been laid. The responsibility before us now is to consolidate these gains and accelerate Ghana's journey towards sustainable growth and shared prosperity. We will be considering the following sector-related legislation. We will continue with the Ghana Cocoa Board Amendment Bill, the Ghana Investment Promotion Authority Bill, the Ghana Deposit Protection Amendment Bill will all be taken. Mr. Speaker, the Exemptions Amendment Bill will also be taken. There will be an Income Tax Amendment Bill. Then there will be Extractive Industries Fiscal Reforms Bill. We will have a rent bill coming from the Ministry of Works and Housing. And then the riparian buffer zones regulations. Mr. Speaker, we will also have legislation from the Ministry of Education to deal with the College of Education, and then also to establish the Ghana Book Development Council. Mr. Speaker, we also will have the Environmental Protection Carbon Market Regulations 2026, the Basic Ionizing Radiation Control Regulations, the Integrated Management Systems Regulations, the Emergency Preparedness and Response Regulations, the Design of Nuclear Installation Regulations, the Review and Amendment of the Biosafety Act. Mr. Speaker, the Energy Ministry will bring new legislative proposals for the Nuclear Power Corporation, that's the Nuclear Power Corporation Bill, the Renewable Energy Authority Bill, and then the Transport Minister will also bring the Road Traffic Amendment Regulations to deal with the issues of discipline among Okada riders. The NPA Act is also going to be revised. There will be a legislation on Ghana Banking Services Agency Bill. Mr. Speaker, we will also have a new comprehensive revision of our minerals and mining legislation in the form of a new minerals and mining bill. The Ghana Geological Survey Authority regulations will come. The minerals and mining regulations will also come. The wildlife resources mining regulations, the Survey Council bill will all be presented to us. The Energy Ministry has a lot, including renegotiated power purchase agreements that will be brought to us for us to consider, and other major projects in the sector that we will be required to approve as Parliament. Mr. Speaker, the local government will also bring a local governance university bill, and then we will have a University for Local Governance and Development bill will be brought. We will also have bills from the local government ministry to abolish the coastal and middle belt development authorities that we announced the abolition some time ago. Mr. Speaker, they will also bring some amendments to the Land Use and Spatial Planning Act, and the Sports Ministry will bring regulations to actualize the new Sports Fund Act. There will be a bill to establish the National Sports College, Winneba. So the National Sports College, Winneba bill will also come. And there will be regulations to enforce the Anti-Doping Act that was passed some time ago. Tourism Ministry will bring legislation to elevate the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park to an authority to ensure that this historic site is preserved and promoted with the dignity it deserves. We will also move to establish the Ghana Bureau of Languages as an authority, so a bill to achieve that will also be brought. Mr. Speaker, we are gathered once again at a time of growing hope and tangible progress across our nation under the leadership of President John Dramani Mahama and his government. We are witnessing a restoration of confidence in our institutions, in our economy, and in our shared future. From the market trader to the teacher, the farmer to the student, there is a sense that Ghana is moving forward with purpose. Mr. Speaker, it is obvious that our country is making progress, and this Parliament is going to move forward in terms of approving legislation that will fast-track the progress that is being made. I urge honorable colleagues that this session is a short one. We have just about 8 weeks. I plead with you, let us be punctual. Let us sit in the chamber. Let all the committees be up and doing. Let's work assiduously to accomplish assignments referred to us as committees. All committee chairmen should do well to deal with all the outstanding referrals. Let's ensure that within the 8 weeks, we achieve as much as is humanly possible. Mr. Speaker, I cannot conclude by also welcoming our friends among the press corps. We will not be able to succeed in this meeting without your support. We will also welcome the parliamentary staff, many of whom, even during the recess, sacrificed precious time to work with certain committees, including the Public Accounts Committee. I know the Security Intelligence Agency committees. I also know that the Constitutional, Legal, and Parliamentary Affairs committees and others were all busy working on bills that were referred to them during the recess. I want to welcome all our staff who have always supported us to succeed as a parliament, and to assure them that we will work together and ensure that this meeting is an action-packed meeting. This meeting is a successful meeting, and this meeting achieves a lot for the people of Ghana. I thank you very much, and I welcome all of you.
Thank you. Thank you, leaders.
So you've been monitoring proceedings from the House of Legislature. The minority and majority leaders have been making their opening statements since the House resumed from its a-month-and-a-half break. And the polls also returns shortly after this break. Don't go anywhere. You're welcome back to the polls. The rains are back, and so is the race to stop leaks before they get worse. That drip in the ceiling, the moisture stains on the wall, the window that lets water sneak in every storm, they never fix themselves. Or maybe you've already tried different products, coatings that claim to protect your building but ended up peeling, cracking, or giving up as soon as the downpour got serious. Now imagine a season without the stress of buckets on the floor or freshwater stains spreading across your wall. Well, that's where Easy Paint Waterproof Solutions comes in. A smart, reliable way to block moisture, seal leaks, and give your home or office long-lasting protection. Well, more Guineans are turning to Easy Paint to keep their buildings dry, secure, and looking good, no matter how heavy the rains fall. To explain how the innovative system works, I'm joined in the studio by Stephanie Zenobia Opoku Dakwa. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon, Stephanie.
Thank you.
How do we stop leakages in our homes?
Okay. So good afternoon to your cherished viewers. So the best way to stop leakages from your house is to first make a trace of where the problem is coming from. And usually the problems from leakages first is noticed from the roofs, because most of the roofs we are just done. The cemented ones, we just do it, leave it there. But we forget that once it starts, the sun gets on there, the rains are coming. Because it's cement, it starts to give crackings in the walls. And when it's untreated, that is when it rains heavily like it did today, you get your homes or your rooms flooded.
There are a number of paints on the market. What makes Easy Paint waterproof, especially different from the other products on the market?
Okay. So what makes Easy Paint the best waterproof paint that you'd have to use for your home is, these other products that have the term waterproofing gets on your buildings, and you end up, regretting if you ever had to even go and then use it. But with Easy Waterproof Paint, what it does we didn't just manufacture it. We had to go around the entire country, find out problems with our homes. That is how we came about with this Easy Waterproof Paint. So we've done it in a way that is going to solve every problem that has to do with your house, that has to do with your roofs, that has to do with the floors, that has to do with the walls, our swimming pools, our water tanks, our fish ponds, anything that has to do with, cement that would, one way or the other, end up having to have a leakage in one way or the other. That is how we came up with the Easy Waterproof Paint. And unlike other paints that you would buy and you have to use other chemicals to mix them before, with Easy Waterproof Paint, all you need to mix is water. That's all you need. And before you apply it, you need to just get the surface that you're using very clean. And when I say clean, I mean very clean. With walls that are very fresh, like newly built homes, you just have to check and see if there are no dust on the walls. That is the freshly plastered walls. If there are no dust in there, we are good to go with the painting. But if there's dust there, like you're watching on the screen, first, the people that are working on have to wash these walls. And when I say wash, we send water tanks in there with brushes, wash the dust, leave it to dry, like this young man is doing, leave it to dry, then we are good to apply. If it's an old house that has already been painted, all we need to do is scrape every paint off the wall. Scrape it, do a sandpaper, then check the plastering on the wall. And make sure that it has a lot of cement in it. I tell our customers and people who come to us that once you peel the wall and then you check after scraping and everything, and you find out that you still have dust in your hands, then it means the plastering wasn't done well. So you have to do replastering. But it has to have a lot of cement in it. Once it's dry, then the Easy Waterproof Paint.
We have one of the products here. Can you demonstrate how it's going to be used, for example, if we are using it to paint our rooms?
Okay, so I'll do the demonstration on my next visit because we use a basket for that. So I'll bring the basket with me and then I'll do the demonstration. We usually say you can't use the basket to fetch water. So that is why we use the basket to do a demonstration. And everything you see in that basket is the paint. It's Easy Waterproof Paint, nothing else. So what it does is we just use, because the basket has bigger holes, you just use a thicker version to do it. But for our walls and the floors or the roofs, we use the first coating in a very light texture. And then after it's dried, we leave it for a day. Well, if it's outside, well, if it's interior, we leave it for 2 days to dry. Then we do the second application. That is a thicker coat than the first one. And that's all you need to solve your leakage problems.
Let's assume that I have a swimming pool in my house and I want to paint or plaster it or whatever. How is Easy Waterproof Paint going to help me do that?
Good. So we're just watching a gentleman who is painting a newly constructed swimming pool. So what it does, if it's a new one, just as we do the cleaning process, that is nice. This was freshly cemented and everything. So the cleaning was done with water and everything. After it was dried, we used, the color in there. And then he's free to go. Just mix with water. And, it comes in any color of your choice. So it doesn't have to be blue. But for swimming pools, fish ponds, and most of the places, they want it in blue. So you just do this for them, and then it will stop. This will prevent every crack that would have happened without the waterproof to let the water or something sip out of it. The waterproof there, it's like, that serious bodyguard in there. So this is the first coat of a flawed, building on top. Once this is done, you just leave it and then go to sleep. Either it rains or whatever happens, you're protected because the Easy Waterproof Paint is solving every problem that would have come in and then collapsed the house.
Oh, that's quite interesting. How about windows? Usually we see insects perforating through our windows into our rooms and all that. How can easy waterproof paint help us seal our windows so that no unwanted animals can enter through our windows into our rooms?
Okay, so you see, most of the windows are from the wall level up.
Yeah.
And when the windows are done, there are spaces in there that the windows do not feel well. So what we do is we just scrape all the excess cement works and things there. Then we mix the waterproof paint it all on top of that place. Then it closes every space that would have given way for the insects to just come in.
And how safe are these paints, especially in our rooms? Because we know that certain paints can cause diseases that we are not even aware of. Most Ghanaians are not aware that some of the paints that they have in their rooms can cause diseases to them. Some contain lead and other harmful substances. How safe is this product?
Okay, this paint, waterproof paint, is purely, the chemicals that are in are water-based, no lead. So that is why we encourage a lot of people to use it, both interior and exterior. And we tell people when they come there, I remember the first time that we had to go and paint for a very old big man, and they need to ask you sort of questions. So what we did, we took samples there, did a test for him to prove it first before we applied it. So it doesn't harm. It doesn't harm, and it doesn't just peel off. When this gets on your wall, it is very difficult to even try with the hardest, metal that you have in your hand. That is how safe and potent the paint is.
And in Ghana Standards Authority has also
authorized. We are still in there with the renewal for this year. Yes.
Behind the scenes, I was asking you how long you've been in the system, and you said over 20 years.
Over 20 years.
Tell us the distribution points where people can get some of these paints to buy if they want to.
Okay. So our main office is at Abeka Junction from Circle, the road that leads to La Paz. There's an Allied filling station. We're just opposite. But if you're coming from Achimota, we're just closer to the Shell filling station.
Right.
There's just, a sharp turn from the Shell filling station. You see Easy Paints there. Aside our office, we have another big one at Tudu, opposite the Lebanon House. We have outlets in Takrade. We have outlets in Kumasi, in Cape Coast, in Koporidia, and we'll be getting to your neighborhood very soon. So as you're watching us and we are not in your location, our numbers are on the screen, or you can give us a call on 0243 707696. 0243 707696. Somebody was just called me before we got on set from Tamale. Please, those in Tamale, go to the ZAR building. That's ZAR, media house. Go there, you'll get easy waterproof paint. If you don't get it, just give us a call and then we'll send it there so that you can pick it up.
What colors does the paint come in? All types?
Every color of your choice. Every color of your choice. But we advise that for your first coat, you do it in white. So that if there's any, little hole or something somewhere, it will just cover it nicely, and then you can easily recognize and say, oh, I missed this place, so yes. But it comes in any color of your choice.
Prices are also very important.
Very reasonable.
For example, let's look at a room, 1/4 of this studio that we are. If I want to use your product in this room, how much am I going to spend?
You're not going to spend much. I'm not even sure that you're going to spend 2 buckets of this. Because aside your first coat being light, the second coat is the one that takes a little more of it. But with this paint, it lasts, and then the coverage is very wide.
Right.
Yes. So I'm not sure you're even going to spend 2 buckets of that.
And do I need a professional to apply this for me when I buy it, or I can do it on my own?
You can. But some people really need professionals. Just like I was telling you, we had an incident that a gentleman brought his painter with him, and we gave him all the nice guidelines, do the cleaning for us, wait for it to dry. The young man, was in a hurry because he had to get other money from another place. So he just went to do the thing, Ghanaian painters, some of our beautiful painters. But we want somebody you trust that, oh, this is Kwabena, this is my trusted painter. Bring him. We'll just teach him how to do it perfectly for you. Or if you want to do it yourself, we'll give you all the guidelines, just as I said, peel, clean, wait for it to dry, then apply.
In about a minute or less, I want you to convince an individual who has gone onto the market to get a paint, to paint their building, their room, whatever they want to paint, why they should choose easy waterproof paint and not any other paint.
Okay. So to you, that's my sweet person watching me. I always tell people that I can bet my last peswa on this. So people with that doubting, you know, come to our office, and then I tell them, you know, just drop something like a seed. Tell us what you want. We'll give you the paint. Go and use it. If it doesn't solve the problem, come back and take your money. And they all go, and then they come and pay us in full, because what we told them and how we told them to apply is exactly, just go on exactly with what we've told you. Do the cleaning for us, let it dry for us, and do the correct application for us, and you're good to go. Your roofs are safe, your walls are safe, your floors are safe.
And just as she's mentioned to you, get yours now if you haven't. And of course, if you want more, also the numbers that rolled earlier on your screen, you can call those numbers to get it. And that's it for the polls this afternoon. Stephanie, thank you very much for coming. My name is Kenneth Jesse. The news team will be back at 7 p.m. with Joy News Prime. You can get more news on myjoyonline.com. And our headline story is the Speaker of Parliament moving to probe the post-December 7th public sector workers dismissal. You can get more stories when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Have a good evening.